I've always tried to better myself every year to stay ahead of the game. I think that's what all champions do. I brought some of the best kittles in. I brought some of the kittles in. You know, I brought some of the 8-10 sablons in. Winning the union, federation and the club 4 years in a row, I think that just says it all. Hi guys, Niezaam Jappie here from Port Elizabeth. I'm a pigeon fancier in Port Elizabeth. I race under the banner of the Metro Pigeon Racing Club. Belong to the Port Elizabeth Pigeon Federation. And then from there we belong to the EPPU, which is the Eastern Province Pigeon Union. Like I said, I'm Port Elizabeth. I started racing pigeons in 2008. I'm still a young fancier. And from there, the bug just bit me, and here I am. 2023 season wasn't one of my best, but as the champion the previous year, or the defending champion the previous year, you just try to defend your title, you know. I didn't do too well in the beginning of the season. We had a bit of construction next door with a new building coming up. But I had to get in there and really put my shoulder to the wheel to become the 2023 Union and Federation champion. My main bloodlines are original Tom Lock Oscar Sirens. But then in the latter part of the years, I brought in which we called a Bushman Patries, which he was bred by a good friend of mine, Piet Steenkamp. Piet has also been my mentor over the years, in the sense that when I started racing, I could race the bird, but I wasn't up front all the time, you know. It's like when you're dicing cars, you can ride the car, but your car's not tweaked. So I needed to tweak my pigeon program to make me the best. And that's how I got involved with Piet Steenkamp, and he started mentoring me in a way that I used to sit with him and ask him questions like a sponge, absorbing everything. And in that way I started getting better and better and better. I've always tried to better myself every year to stay ahead of the game. I think that's what all champions do. We bred this bird in 2010. I didn't really like him. He didn't do much. It was covert, so we didn't race him much. And then in 2021, he was the second best bird in the union. I think it's 2021, 2022. And then I raced it consecutively for a couple of weeks. And the bird just came. Suddenly the bird just came, you know. So at this moment in time, he's my #1 cock in the loft. I sent his daughter to Dino King last year, and I think she ended up in the top 10 on one of the hotspots. So I'm speaking under recognition now. So obviously there is something in this bird, because all its kids has also been racing very well for me. Okay, this is my top hen in the loft. This is 1312. She won multiple races, a couple of union races. Doesn't really matter where I sent her, whether it was north or east. We raced the east route and a north route, so she's quite versatile in flying a 1600 and flying a 900 velocity. So she's my top hen at this moment in the loft, which is mated to my top cock in the loft, 9228. They produced a bird 3376, which I sent to Dino King last year. She was in the top 10 in one of the races. So I believe that these are the birds that can do a one-loft race. Obviously, locally, all their children have produced winners. And they have actually won a few unions as well. The breeding strategy is very simple. Before you start even pairing up your birds, it has to be healthy. You know, you have to inoculate the birds, deworm the birds, do all the necessary medication before you pair up. And once you pair up, you got to know exactly what birds you want to pair up so that they can bring you the results. In most cases, it's birds that you've raised the previous year that has won unions or federations for you. So in that way, you sort of breed on, you carry on with those type of strains. But on the other hand, you know, as years go on, the sport becomes more dominant. You have to bring new bloodline in, which I did. I brought some of the best kittles in. I brought some of the kittles in. You know, I brought some of the 8-10 sablons in. On the other hand, you have to also know, is this going to work for you compared to your program? Now, my program, it's very different to others, you know, in the sense that we toss our birds hard in the morning and in the evening, and we feed them hard as well. Some people don't really understand, but there is also from the science section of it, you have to make sure that your birds are being tested, which I do myself, you know, self-taught. I had to teach myself how to use a microscope and how to test my birds for malaria, how to test my birds for coccidiosis, how to test my for canker, and so forth. You know, that's the way you're going to stay on top of the game. But then on the other hand, the program that we've developed between myself and Pete, we've come up with a program that actually works 100%. And me saying that, winning the union, federation, and the club 4 years in a row, I think that just says it all, you know. And then I had a two-year break, and then came back 2022 and 2023 last year. Okay, my feeding strategy is, I used to feed the old-fashioned way, in the sense that, you know, how the old guys taught you how to feed. But last year, I took a big gamble, and I started going onto food that Andre Pandey, also a good friend of mine, he started he put the food together, which is the short distance, the middle distance, and the long distance, ultra long distance feed. And what I found out was that instead of feeding the old-fashioned way, this was more simpler for me because the food was already mixed. The only thing you had to do is to know when to feed enough and when to increase your feed. My plans for the up-and-coming season is to defend my title. I have put it out there that I'll be defending my title. The strategy has changed. I've moved away from the sort of local supplements and more to the imported supplements, which is Cess Pharma. And what I found out was that the supplements that I've been using now is more efficient to my style of racing than what I did in the past. And it's made it much easier for me to manage my program. So for the up and coming season, yes, we're ready to go. It's been a long lull, and I think from my side we're ready to rock and roll. South African pigeon racing has improved immensely over the last 10 years that I've been involved, in the sense that we've been able to import good products, good feed from other countries, and the game has just stepped up tenfold, where it did stagnate for a while, but then suddenly it just stepped up. Is it because of social media? Is it because of the internet? But there is so much out there that you can learn without even making contact with another pigeon fancier out there. Well, to the up-and-coming fanciers, don't lend your ears out, because that causes trouble. You know, to those fanciers, approach a champion in your area Chat to him. Don't immediately ask him for help. Chat to him first. Feel if you're confident with the guy. He's going to feel if he's confident with you, then he's going to take you under his arm. Just like Pete took me under my arm, under his arm. You know, he took me under his arm. We were comfortable with each other. And he could see that I wanted to learn. And saying that, I've also adopted the same by starting to mentor other fanciers to achieve what they would like to achieve and not get bombarded with so many different programs, different ways of racing, and just stick to one program. It's important that for us to grow the sport in South Africa, we have to take youngsters, mentor them so that the sport can grow. I understand that there is a period of a fancier's life, especially when they're young, they lose it. But once they settle down, they come back into the sport, and that's when the sport really starts growing.